Hi everyone. So this is a OPSC GS1 paper discussion. This discussion does not intend to be exhaustive, but it is indicative. That means it can help you write better answers in your forthcoming exams. Now if you look at the question number 1, first we'll do the discussion of group B, that is 20 marker question. I usually ask my students to write the 20 marker first and then switch to 15 marker. So the discussion also will do the similar manner. Group B, question number 13, if you see, enumerate the legacy of early Vedic Aryans. So this is a question that we have asked in our test series, and there was an elaborate discussion on this one also. See, in this kind of question, what you have to write is, if you look at say Hinduism now today and the Vedic culture of yesteryears, you have to draw. See, history is all about continuity and change. You have to establish what are the Vedic rituals that is still practiced or is still in continuity in contemporary times. That is what the legacy word is all about. The question that we gave in the test series, what are the main features of Vedic society and religion, and do you think some of the features are still prevailing in Indian society? That is what is all about, legacy is all about. Now, what are the things that you can write in the answer? You can write about Varna system, you can write about the cult of domestic hearth, right? Whenever you cook something, you offer that in the fire. So you can write about cult of yajna. When we buy something new, whether it is a house or a car or a bike or a mobile phone, we still go ahead and do the same Vedic rituals that we used to do say 1000 years ago. So there is a large degree of continuity of cultural practices still there. Okay, you can talk about say in Vedic age, people used to worship nature, and nature worship is still part of say Indic culture or Hindu culture, that is still there. And if you look at say the gods that were important in say latter Vedic period, say Prajapati, Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, all these things are still relevant today, and they are still important gods in Hinduism as well. So that connection you have to establish, and that's how you establish the legacy. And I will suggest say another example you can give, say one Upaveda is Ayurveda, which is very much relevant in India today. So these things you can write in your answer. Apart from that, you can do a connection with the modern India as well. Say for example, there was a Vedic revival by the Dayanand Saraswati, which is called Arya Samaj. He gave a slogan called "Go back to Vedas." That connection also you can establish over here. So that is question number 13. Next question is question number 14. Give an account of the development of science during Gupta period. Easy question, pretty much you can easily write this question. You can talk about Aryabhatta and others. Okay. We have gave two questions, discuss the development of science in ancient India, and then why Gupta is called golden age of why Gupta is described as golden age of India. This is a pretty much predictable question. Anybody who has read little bit of history and ancient India will be able to answer it. Okay, easy question. Next question is divide India into major physiographic divisions. So what you can do, see, the first part of the question is India into major physiographic divisions. That you can do. You don't need to follow any fancy geography books. NCERT physiographic division is pretty good and pretty well. You have to just replicate that. So that is that you can do, and then you can go ahead and discuss about Odisha and where it is located. Mostly you will be discussing about Gondwana land and all that aspect. So Odisha physiography we have covered in our classes as well. So pretty easy question, doable question, and it is on the expected lines. Nothing nothing out of the ordinary here. Now next question is question number 16. Does climate change make the coastal and Himalayan regions of India more vulnerable to disaster? Explain. Yes, climate change makes Himalayan region vulnerable. What you can write over here is you can write about say GLOF, that is glacial lake outburst flood. You can give example of Sikkim flood, the issue that happened in Kedarnath. Those things you can give or cite as examples. So Himalayan region, Gangotri glacier is melting faster. So Yamunotri glacier is melting faster, and these are the rivers that around which our whole Indic culture is built. Okay, and these are the glaciers which are feeding to these rivers. If these rivers are lost, then obviously it is a threat not only to Indian society or economy, it is threat to Indian culture as well. So that way you can explain these things. Anyway, So Himalayan region and then coastal region. So two things you have to do. Coastal region first, Himalayan region, do the diagram and then discuss about and give the example that I told you, Sikkim flood, etc. And then go ahead and discuss about say coastal region. Coastal region you can do a diagram and you can discuss. So this also we have covered in our test series. Different physiographic divisions of India will be affected differently by climate change and global warming. Model answer is बहुत detailed answer अच्छी. So you can doable question, easy question, and here you have to give data. Okay, sea level rise, how much sea level rise is there? You can give example. For example, say when we talk about coastal, how does climate change affect the coastal regions? You can talk about a particular village that is completely lost to the sea. Odisha has the first climatic refugee in India. That example I think I gave in model answers also. So that you can give here. Next question is. Question number 17, analyze the role of women's organization in promoting gender equality and women empowerment in India. So two things, how women's organizations are helping towards gender equality and women empowerment. See, when we talk about women's empowerment, here you can diversify the answer. First you can talk about say formal institutions such as National Commission for Women, okay, that you can talk about. Then informal institutions, for example NGOs, and most importantly women led SHGs. Okay, that is the 60 or 70% of your answer should be around SHG, because when we talk about women's organizations, women's centering organizations are very few in number, and most importantly the major organizations are around SHG only. So that should be your answer. Discuss the steps taken by government of Odisha. So you can talk about Mission Shakti and how it has been going for women empowerment, how it has been able to reduce the gender inequality. All these things you can answer. We gave 2 questions also around this particular topic, so easily doable. But here remember you have to give right amount of data and then analysis has to follow. Group A, question number 1. Analyze the cultural achievements of Mahimagava and Kharavela. This is an easy question. So you will write about what are the things that Kharavela did, but because the question is specifically focusing on cultural achievements, so you can establish the things that he has built. For example, Shishupal Gada, etc. And most importantly, how he is important to say Odisha culture. He is one of the important figure in Odisha culture, because if you look at Odisha history, he is one shining light in the major mystery. See, Odisha history is a mystery, and in that darkness he is a shining light because he erected the Hathi Gumpa inscription, etc. So you can discuss about Jainism, his creation of Udayagiri, Khandagiri and Hathi Gumpa, all that you can mention about that. So little bit and how he contributes to the Odia identity. Okay, that also you can establish over here. That will make your answer little bit stand out. Okay, so doable question, easy question. Moving on to the next question. Discuss the main principles of Alekha or Mahima dharma. We haven't asked this question, but it is a typical, even if you don't know the answer, remember that this is part of or an offshoot of Bhakti movement. So if you have read Bhakti, you will be able to answer this question or cook up an answer. It was established by Mahima Gosai. You can talk about Joranda Gadi and all that. Then you can talk about the doctrines or principles. That's what the question is asking. You can talk about monotheism. You can talk about non-dualism. That was core principle or philosophy of Mahima Dharma. You can talk about the idea that the creation of the world. It does not believe in that the idea of Purusha and Prakriti. Instead, if you look at their philosophy, they say that the universe is created by Alekh Prabhu. Okay. They were against idol worship, they were against caste identity, and they believed that Hindu philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that is, they believed that the whole universe is a single family. So these are the basic tenets that you can mention over here, even if you don't know the answer, because it is more or less associated with Bhaktism. You can write or cook up an answer over here. Most importantly, don't forget to write about Bhima Bhoi, who has contributed immensely to make Alekh dharma popular in Odisha. Okay. Next question, what role did INA trials play in facilitating the process of Indian independence? Now, in the history pre-study sessions, I told you, right, read about INA trials, etc. Because INA trials, see, a ruler rules a group of people only when his officers, most importantly his police or army or navy are with him. Okay. The moment the state is known for its coercive power. The coercive power comes from the masculine power. And what is the muscular force? The police, army, navy, etc. These are the masculine force. If they are against the rulers, then they cannot rule. And when INA trials happened, so it galvanized the whole army, navy, etc., who were working for British or employed by the British. They developed a resentment towards the British authority. So the British knew that without the army or the police or the navy, they cannot run the country anymore. That is the reason why they had to leave. Okay. So INA trials, how it created a galvanized the masculine force of the British against British. That is the core of the answer, and that you have to write over here. Moving on, doable question though. If you have read Modern India, you can easily do it. Easy question again, Modern India. Swadeshi movement, and what was the what did happen in 1905 to 1908? Critically analyze its impact on the freedom struggle. Doable, easy question. Okay, you can talk about Bengal partition, then how it the whole movement and how it created. See, when you are writing about Swadeshi movement, always end up your answer saying that Swadeshi movement created a springboard which was used by Gandhi at a later point of time. So it was a springboard to launch Gandhi to a bigger audience. Okay? So that way you can make your answer better. We have covered this in pre-study sessions, etc. Now next question is, economy of Odisha reflects a paradoxical situation. Briefly discuss reasons for this and suggest some. Okay. So economy of Odisha is a paradox. In our test series also, in our discussion I discussed this, that Odisha is a poorly developed rich state. That is a paradox. We are a rich state from the physical resource perspective, but we are a poor state as far as the economy is concerned. Okay? That dichotomy or dilemma or that paradox you have to bring in and discuss over here. Elaborate discussion has been there, and if you have gone through the classes that we have taken, that economy survey of Odisha and the summary, over there also these discussions are there. So yes, doable question, easy question. Okay. This question appears difficult, but it is not a difficult question. Okay? Chennai and Bangalore approximately lie on the same latitude, yet both receive same amount of rainfall in different months. This is your typical NCERT geography. Okay? Chennai and Bangalore approximately lie on the, and why? See, Chennai receives Tamil Nadu receives rainfall twice. One is because of southwest monsoon, another because of northeast monsoon. Because northeast monsoon, while coming through, it is a dry wind, but when they cross over say Bay of Bengal, they pick out some moisture and rain in Tamil Nadu because of the peculiar nature of Tamil Nadu. If you have attended my classes, you must be knowing this. So Tamil Nadu receives two rainfalls in a year in comparison to say Mangalore. Mangalore, they receive rainfall, but it is very intense rainfall. That's what you have to discuss. So do diagram, southwest monsoon show that, northeast monsoon show that, and how Tamil Nadu or say Chennai receives twice rainfall. All these things you can easily do that. Next part, so 10 mark is over. That 10 mark we can easily answer through our basic knowledge, basic understanding of geography. But how do you foresee the role of Arctic Sea in India's monsoon system? This is an interesting aspect. See, you can write something that or you can cook up something, but anyway, this is only 5 marks. But there was a Hindu article in September 2024, I think they have published it. The article was, what role does Arctic sea ice play in Indian monsoon? And if you look at the article, the summary is that less sea ice in the Arctic will result in what? Lower rain in western and peninsular India. So western region and peninsular India will receive less rainfall, but more rain in central and northern India. So this is a interesting dichotomy is there that you can bring and discuss over here. Anyway, even if you don't know that, at least the 10 mark that you can easily answer from the geography basic knowledge. Differentiate between strait and isthmus. Describe the significance of strait and isthmus international trade. So this is a question that we have elaborately discussed and covered in our test series as well. Same example, mention significance of strait and isthmus in international trade. So you have to discuss what is a strait, what is a isthmus, and then give some examples and how much trade happens through the straits, etc., and how they are geopolitically important. That you have to establish over here. Doable question, easy question, but then again, if you have read it well, then you will be able to do it. Sometimes what happens is we usually forget the definitions. What is a strait, what is isthmus, etc. So keep these things in mind. Next question, discuss in detail the role of regionalism in shaping social cohesion. See, regionalism is a very interesting phenomena, and questions have been there. Now if you look at say regionalism, it brings people together, say it brings Tamilians together, it brings say ODIs together, no doubt about it. But then again it divides, it also divides. So it is a uniting force as well as a divisive force. You have to discuss in both. You have to discuss both the phenomena. Okay? It talks about social cohesion. It is creating social cohesion within the Tamil society or within the Odia or Telugu societies, but it is dividing sometimes. It is it is a divisive force at times, that you have to discuss over here. Okay? See, in our test series also, FLD full length test also I discussed this one. Okay. So if you look at say communalism, that is a different concept anyway. Regionalism, it is a geographical concept, but if you look at regionalism in India, the geographical concept is manifested through linguistic identity, right? So that is a very interesting aspect. Regional consciousness that you can discuss. That means if you are a Tamil and you are a proud Tamil, that's well and good. But when you take that identity and discriminate against others, then there will be an issue. Okay? And यहाँ पे recent examples दे देना, Maharashtra, a lot of this son of the soil movement etc. is happening there, beating up the Biharis, people from Uttar Pradesh etc. Anyone who is not a Marathi is scared in Maharashtra nowadays because of this job issue etc. Regionalism, that means they are politicizing this particular issue or regional identity, being politicized and used as a political tool. That also you can bring in over here and show that how they are against the idea of social cohesion and against the idea of say the whole India. Okay. Then question number 10, what do you understand by population aging? Discuss its various dimensions in the context of India. There is a very interesting theory that says that if a country's population, 7% of its population is more than 60 years of age, that means the country is slowly moving into the aging category. Okay? If you look at India, we are a young population, but slowly in say next 30 or not even by 2050, we will transition into a aged by 20 to 55 to be precise, will transition into a aged society. Okay? That you have to discuss, and then discuss the various dimensions in context of India. So you have to discuss how it is going to impact the whole economy, the society etc. One interesting aspect, in fact this particular question I have discussed also. See, for example, in traditional society or in traditional India, if you say the elderly, they were treated with respect, they were part of the family, they were treated with respect, and they had a very good, and there were people to take care of them. But if you look at say in a globalized India nowadays, the elderly are not treated with respect. They have lost that that sense of belonging, and because the evidence is that there is a rise of retirement homes etc. So these things are happening. So how do we that idea of how when we become an aged society, how our elderly will be treated, how this whole dynamics will impact our economy etc. That we have to discuss over here. Okay? So what population aging, simply mention that, then discuss its various dimensions in context of India. Doable, easy question. See, it's societal impact, economic impact, political impact, all these things you can mention over here. Question number 11, how many types of tribals are there in Odisha? What are the issues and problems of PVTGs? Okay. The exact question, what do you understand by PVTG? Discuss PVTG of Odisha and the issue faced by them. There was an elaborate discussion on this particular topic in our mains test series also. And now what you have to do is you have to show do a Odisha map in this kind of question. Do a Odisha map, show the major tribal concentrations, and then show the major PVTG concentration. See, never equate PVTG with tribes. Tribes, the normal terminology for tribes or the usual understanding of tribes is different, and the PVTG is different. Okay? So we should not equate them. Although they are belonging to a broader group, there are criteria where to classify the PVTGs. Okay, that you have to establish over here, and it is a doable question. And Odisha has the highest number of PVTG. You have to mention that India has 75 PVTG, and Odisha has highest number of PVTG out of that. Second followed by Andhra Pradesh. That you have to mention and discuss what are the issue they face. This question very well covered in our mains test series. Next question, last question I think. Question number 12, discuss some important causes of rural poverty, discuss some poverty alleviation programs which have launched by Government of India for the rural poor. In our I think mains WhatsApp group, I think I have shared recently a particular interesting piece of news that majority of Indians, I mean India is, we think that India is progressing towards urbanization, but that is not so. In fact, the migration from rural to urban region is getting reversed, and there is a very interesting study by Niti Aayog itself, and here what is happening is, say a lot of people are not going to urban areas, and the reason being that the urban areas are not offering much much scope, economic scope nowadays. So that is the reason why people are staying in the rural areas. So this urban to great rural to urban migration that has driven the India's GDP etc. is is in the decline. That is a cause of worry, and that particular piece of news you can integrate over here, and saying that that rural poverty is on the rise, because one of the reasons why rural poverty is there, because people don't have alternate employment. We don't have a, you can connect with economy also, say that we have a missing middle sector. That means there is no industry that can absorb the excess labor from the agriculture. So our agriculture is measured, 85% of our farmers are small and marginal farmers, so they mostly do subsistence farming, and because high population explosion etc., so the per capital land availability is very low. That is the reason why agriculture is not remunerative. Apart from that, you can bring in climate and other dimension to discuss that how the farmer in India, average farmer in India is is suffering within the vicious circle and is unable to get out of it. So when we talk about rural poverty, it is mostly rural area. That means more than 70% of the people are engaged in agriculture. So you have to discuss about how agriculture is although see here one irony is that if you look at say agriculture, and if you look at say last couple of years, last 5 years or 6 years, the agricultural growth rate has been 4 to 5%. For agriculture, if the growth rate is 4 to 5%, that means we can expect bumper crops, and it is the Ministry of Agriculture will jump in the parliament. Okay, but then again with this kind of growth also, rural poverty still remains. That you have to discuss. We have discussed this and also in this one you can bring in Niti Aayog's MPI index, that is multidimensional poverty index, and bring that data and go for a discussion. Map is required, you have to go for a geographical analysis of that. So the map over there, then go ahead and discuss this. So we are done with the discussion. Thank you guys. If you have any questions or query, let me know.